Good evening and salutations, my YNR fans. I gotta sit there and say this episode was definitely interesting, um, in certain areas. Uh, so Sally walks in, and she wants to then know what are they, like as far as like Sally and Adam, like are they together? Are they not together? What is going on? And she's just like, I don't want to sit there and sneak around. I don't want to sit there and be a dirty little secret. And Adam agrees. But I'm not gonna lie, it took her kind of a while to get to the point that she was trying to make, and it got me a little kind of annoyed because she was like, "Oh well, we did it over here, and we did it over there, and we did it over there," and I was like, "Sally, you came in to make a point, and it's taking you way too long to get to that point. I don't really give a damn about how many times you screwed around and whatever corner the off is. Get to what you're saying." And of course, Victor walks in and, he's talking to Victoria. And, she's all defensive about, oh, well, your snitcher asked me about Ashland and, he told me about the whole clinic. And yeah, no, whatever. He lied to me, but blah, blah, blah. So what she does is she averts his attention to Adam by saying, oh, yeah, just to let you know, he hired Sally. The woman that was responsible for whatever happened to Summer, that train wreck that was in Forrester's creation. Yeah. So why don't you go over there and take care of that? And I'm not gonna lie, he was mad. He was mad. He walked right in that office, and Victoria knew that Victor was gonna be upset because Adam didn't sit there and consult him. Of course, he comes in there, and one of the things that he said when Sally left was, "You didn't consult me." And of course, Adam is annoyed about that. He's like, "Yo, so now I gotta sit there and run my decisions through my sister and you." I'm sorry, what am I doing here again? Now, he walks in there and you know, off the bat, he's like, "Oh, so you hired Sally, this dressmaker, this woman who has no experience whatsoever, who made a complete and utter disaster over there at Forrester Creations and just all sorts of crap that she was doing there, on top of Summer." At this point, Adam is not there defending her. He's like, "Yo, listen, she got experience, she got drive, like she has the skills to sit there and back up the reasons why I hired her." So he stands up for her. And Sally takes points out. It's like, "Yo, listen, I'm done apologizing. Listen, yeah, I regret what I did, but I'm not gonna sit there and let my past define who I am." And she's like, "Yo, listen, keeping me on, I'm gonna sit there and prove myself. I'm gonna prove myself to you and everyone else. This is what I do." So she stands up to Victor, and um, she leaves. And long story short, Victor's like, "All right, fine, she can stay as long as she's a team player and she proves her worth, towards her job title, whatever." And of course, she does. Of course, Victor does make a couple of snide comments like, "Oh yeah, I'm pretty sure you've seen all sides of her." It's like he's not subtle. And one of the things I like about Victor, I'm not gonna lie, when I was at work today, and usually sometimes I talk to some of the women, that are coming to the store. Um, because I always sometimes like to sit there and surprise them by, "Hey, I like soap operas, and I know this person, I know that person." They always look at me like, "You like soap operas? I thought he would be into sports and cars and football and whatever guys are into." But anyway, um, I was telling this woman, I was like, one of my favorite characters off the bat is Victor because he is it's a combination of the character and the actor because I haven't seen someone who does a performance like him in very long time. I think the last time that I liked the character that was sort of like him a little bit was Asa, Buchanan from One Life to Live. Anyway, like I said, so after Victor leaves, Sally comes back in, and one of the things that Sally does thank Adam for sticking up for her, and Adam's like, I was impressed, and Victor was impressed that you stood up to him. Not a lot of people will sit there and dare try to stand up to Victor Newman. I was going to say Kyriakis. Um, Victor Newman. He was like, my father would never admit it, but he was kind of impressed that you stood up to him. So, yeah, so that was a good scene. I enjoyed that. Now, of course, Victoria. Listen, here's the thing. I don't know who threw the first apple, who shot first. Um, but Victoria pretty much was like, yo, listen, we want Adam going. And just because the clause pretty much say, one of the provisions that Adam stays on, it didn't exactly say how long he stays on for. It's only going to be a matter of time before he winds up screwing up. But Victoria's like, yo, listen, instead of giving him time and giving him rope, let's just find a reason. Let's just make sure, let's do whatever we can to sabotage him. This way they can, he can give us just cause. I was like, Jesus Christ, that's like, yo, you mad spiteful. But then I'm sitting there, and that's the thing. When I sit there and do these reviews, and I sit there and say how spiteful Victoria is, keep in mind that I don't know all the stuff that Adam has done and how many times that Adam has sat there and double crossed Victoria. So, sometimes I always gotta sit there and say this stuff, especially when I just started watching the soap opera, because when I started watching Days, and I was like, well, Sammy's this and Sammy's that, and blah 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 blah. And when I was saying stuff like, "Oh, well, I like Ben," and people was just so like, "Ben's a serial killer. You don't know what you're talking about." It's like, yeah, I don't, because I just started watching the show like 2 weeks ago. So yeah, but yeah, like I said, Victoria was like, well, damn, girl, like you just gonna find reason to sit there and kick your brother to the curb. Like you just okay, all right. I don't know. I guess in a way, the Newmans and especially the way their whole family dynamic works, it sort of seems very quartermain. Like they're always they seem like they're trying to double cross each other on some sort of level. And that was one of the things that Nicholas or Nick was sitting there talking about with Nikki was like, worried about how this whole thing is going to be. Adam and Victoria working together, and even though he walked away from business, he didn't walk away from the family. So he's worried about that. He's worried about his mom. Kind of getting caught getting caught in the crossfires. Um, and also, Nikki Smith expressing concerns, I guess, the fact that while Victor loves his children and his family and everything like that. He also loves the business and it's very intertwined. Um, which is one of those things where it's like, I mean, and granted, while she was saying all that, she did sit there and say, I knew exactly what he was like when I married him. Like, all those times I married him. So, I don't really understand why you seem so concerned or, you know, why you seem slightly concerned. This would just be another Tuesday. So, my question is, who is Casey? The reason why I'm sitting there saying that is because, when they were talking about, I know that Casey was Nicholas' daughter that passed away, but what happened? Um, they didn't really sit there and talk about Phyllis, Philip, Phyllis. When Nikki seemed like she was concerned about Nicholas and everything like that, or Nick. I don't know if I should call him Nick Nicholas. I am finding out all this stuff on the go. Um, anyway, they just mostly catched up, so it wasn't really anything that was like, you know, mind blowing. Of course, Victor did come back, and you know, Nick was like, is it a good idea them working together and stuff like that? And then he wants to sit there and make sure that everyone is good and Victoria is good. And I gotta sit there and say, Nick is is a much bigger person as far as forgiveness and not being a dick, like I would have been, especially when she kicked him out of her wedding when he was simply trying to make sure that Ashlyn wasn't as much of a scumbag as, you know, looking out for his sister. And this is pretty much the thanks that, you know, he got. Now, it was something interesting when Ashlyn came back and they were talking, and it was something that Ashlyn said as far as, controlling things. And Victoria was like, you do know that this is both of our company, right? Like you're not controlling anything. This isn't like your firm here controlling anything. This is a partnership. Did you forget that? So she got a little defensive, and on top of that, the fact that Ashlyn lied one more time, or lied again, and Ashlyn's like, listen, don't let your father sit there and undermine us. We're gonna be great. I love you, and we're going to be running this whole thing, and we're going to do great things. Now he does get a phone call, and he's like, "Oh, I got to take this." Now, listen, if you are married, if you are dating, if you've been in a relationship for a little bit, and your significant other gets a phone call and walks into another room, um, that's cause for concern. That's cause for concern. I'm just going to sit there and throw it out there. I did sit there and make a comment before when Billy decided to share his inner thoughts with Lily as far as the tape was, as far as the tape, as far as when he was monologuing and stuff like that. I was like, it's kind of private thoughts, but okay, sure. But fine. He wants to sit there and be totally honest with her and no secrets, and that's great. Meanwhile, you got Ashton just walking to the other room with phone calls and stuff like that, and like, she even turns around and kind of looks like, hmm. I'm like, sweetheart, you married a liar. You knew exactly what he was like when you married him, and you knew that he was there lying to you up until your wedding day, and even after you got married, he still lied to you. Oh, I'm sorry, he kept something from you because he wanted to protect you. Now he's making things like, making comments like, "Oh, this is, I'm used to sit there running a company pretty much by myself." Like, things like that. You would sit there and think that any normal woman would be like, yeah, I don't know about this whole marriage thing, but for reasons because she clearly knows what she's doing, and she's sticking by him. I gotta sit there and say, now I was sitting there reading some comments. And this is something that Victor did sit there and say to Adam as far as, make sure, if you see any sort of, things that alerts you to any sort of suspicious activities with Ashlyn, make sure you sit there and tell me. Um, he pretty much Victor wants Adam to sit there and keep an eye out on Ashlyn because he was like, I never really fully trusted him. Never really fully I'm just I and even that comment is just like, bro, and yet you let your little princess marry this guy who was lying like there was no tomorrow because the merger and the business is so important that you're just like, it's just my daughter, she can handle it, but I'm gonna get that merger, get more of that money, like. Okay, sure. Um, Now I'm just sitting there wondering: does Ashland did he ever really actually have like cancer? Was it something else? Has he been faking this? Because I'm gonna be completely 100% honest. That is going to piss me off if I find out that this guy was lying about that. Something that affects everyone in some form of way. Either someone's had it or someone knows who's had it. Affected them. And it's kind of hard to believe that he would be sitting there faking it because I did see a couple of times. Like there was one time where he keeled over a little bit, and Billy walked into the room. And this was when it was played by a different actor, and Billy walked into the room was like, "Yo, you're right, you good." Um, and I feel like certain things you can't really fake. Unless he knew that Billy was like walking into the room. Um, I don't understand how you can sit there and fake that. But to be honest, I don't understand how a soap opera can sit there and make up a storyline when someone fakes a disease, fakes something like that. Like I feel like there's certain lines that you should just never cross, even for a story. I feel like that's about it. It was a good episode. It was. It was definitely an interesting episode. Again, I'm still getting used to the pace of the show. I can start to see why people like this show a little bit. I can see it. I don't understand why the show's number one, and it's still mind boggling. But after a couple of days or about 2 weeks, give or take, I can understand. I get it. So with that being said, I'm gonna go. I want to thank everyone for watching. Be safe. Let me know your thoughts are in the comment section below, and I will see you in the next video.